15 of Descent into the Wormhole, where we discuss everything from ancient civilizations to modern day social issues and everything in between. I'm Les.
And I'm Stevie J, and today we're going to take a deep dive into, are we possessed by our possessions? And if so, why are we possessed by our possessions? So grab that coffee, set to cruise control, and let's get into it. What is a possession? Now, I asked you this the other day.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's actually two questions.
Okay.
But what is your most prized possession? And let's go with the hard one, I feel, first, which is material possession. Do you have a most prized material possession?
I don't think I do. I honestly don't think I do.
And like, that's great. I feel like that's really good because when you think about it, everything that we own, everything that we see, everything that we can tangibly touch, you know, that is a thing. I'm not talking about people, but a thing that we can own, touch, and have. Is it really that necessary? Is it really something that's critical to our lives? But the other question that follows that is, why do we put so much importance into these things? Why do people in general put so much importance into them?
That is the, $2 billion question, I feel, right there. Because, well, one would say maybe your house. Your house is your most prized possession because that's, the most expensive thing you're probably ever going to buy in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see some people saying my home or my car, if that's, if you're, a gearhead or you just, saved up for years, to buy your dream car or whatever. But yeah, I don't think I have one because there's not a lot of things that I look around. You know what? Maybe my books, I don't know, but they're also very replaceable. It's not like they're a first edition anything. They're just my books. Everything's replaceable. Everything is replaceable.
It is. And in where we live in society now, no more than ever in history have things been more replaceable than right now.
Right.
Because, you got your Amazons and all these other things you can just, in terms of the books and the material things, you can just replace it straight away. Usually very quickly.
I just had a thought. Family heirlooms, like maybe like a parent's wedding ring or, your grandfather's wedding ring, something like that that can't be replaced. I feel that would be the biggest thing for me would be, I can't replace it.
Yeah. I love it.
So it would probably be my grandmother's watch.
Oh, that's nice. And I love it. And you know what? That takes me into the second part of the original question that I had, which is about spiritually, just emotionally, just as your own being, what is your most prized possession? But I just want to dovetail that with what you just said then, with those heirlooms or even the car that somebody's done so much work on, this gearhead's done so much work on.
Yes.
Is it the possession itself or is it the emotional attachment to the possession? That's important.
Attachment. Yeah, it's the emotional attachment you have to it. Because if there wasn't an emotional attachment to it, why are you so upset that it may go away one day?
Yeah.
Like, I'm really not concerned if this goes away tomorrow. Well, I would be a little miffed because there's a lot of, brain power in there, but like, I wouldn't cry over it. I'd just be like, oh, damn it, I got to do that again.
Yeah.
So it's all about emotional attachment and how you attach those emotions to certain things. Because some people are really attached to something, but it's an emotional attachment and only it's very personal. Emotional attachments are very personal.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very, very subjective, very, very subjective.
Absolutely. And the other question is like, what emotions are attached to what possessions? So what emotions do you attach to your grandmother's watch? What emotions do you attach to a photograph of family? What emotional attachment do you give to your fridge? Like what are the attachments that you give to things and the energy, I guess, you give to things too? Because, there's so many things. I look around my house and there's really not very much that I see in a material sense that I'm like, I would keep that,
Yes.
or that means a lot to me to keep that. I could probably count on one hand. And yeah, it's usually those things that have a positive emotional attachment. So whether it be gifts, that were given by someone that have meaning, something special.
Yes. Yes.
It could be, like some emails. Like for
Mm-hmm.
me, and this is going to sound strange, but using the grandparent example,
Yeah.
I came across some emails the other day that are really important to me from before my granddad died, and him and I were having some communication, some talk about life, and sharing some emotions, really. And so for me, those emails, which are really just bits of paper, are important, but it's because I attached that emotional positivity and that relationship that I had with him to the emails.
Yeah. You sparked something in me because I have my bestie and I, we've been friends since we were 13. So going on 30 years. It's over 30 years actually. And I have every Christmas card, every birthday card. I have every letter when she was overseas. I have every letter. I have it all. Everything she has ever given me, I still have in a shoebox. I have moved with it multiple times. It is, yeah. And I never go in there. I went in there once when she got married because I still had the letter that she sent me telling me that they were getting married because she was overseas.
Yeah.
And so I went in for that. But other than that, like it's an open throw in whatever, the Christmas card, the birthday card, whatever, or kids pictures or something. That it's like my little time capsule. Like even little notes that we used to leave in each other's lockers in high school. I still have those. So yeah. And I'm not getting rid of it.
That's really cool though. That's really cool that you've got that. And even though you don't go in there all the time and like read through it, once a week, I mean, how does it feel to you, the thought of actually getting rid of it?
Oh no.
Yeah. And isn't it interesting? Because what is it in a tangible material sense? What is it? It's just a box of papers, really.
Yeah.
That's what it is. But we attach the meaning to it, and it becomes important. Those things become important. But that's so awesome. You got that, by the way. That's just cool.
Yeah, it makes me happy.
But I feel like there's a lot of things in our society that we don't need to be attached to, but we do put that same attachment, emotional attachment to. And one of the biggest things I see is things like our phones. The amount of times that I see people on their phones in situations where, and I get it's subjective, but just looking and observing people, what they're doing, sitting together having dinner at a restaurant with both people on their phones the whole time.
Right. Yeah.
Or sometimes just one person on their phone. But, I just see such a disconnect between real energetic connections between people, those vibrational connections between people. And it's been put into, and this level of importance put onto the phone that people just cannot live without, can't put down, can't walk away from. And it, to me, it puts a whole lot of importance, and a lot of the time too, sadly, into people that we don't even know. We've never met. We don't know who they are. It's just a name on a screen. And sadly, those people could be someone entirely different than what we think. But yet we're putting our energy in there. We're giving our emotions over to this thing and to these people who are just words on a screen. Yeah. And I see that as pretty sad, to be honest.
It is. Well, we know the phone was designed for that. And all the apps were designed to keep us on. And which is really odd that they say, for our mental health you limit our time on social media, but social media is designed to have us addicted.
Yes.
So we have a bigger problem here at hand because addiction is addiction.
Yeah. No
matter which way you slice it, it's a problem. So just to tell someone just stop, it's not that easy.
No, not at all. And I don't mean to criticize anyone when I say it's sad. I actually just mean that from a real sense of it's sad. Like
It
it's
but it's
sad.
sad that they created something to have the masses do this. Like it's not the masses' fault. It's not
No.
society, it's not society's fault that this thing happened, that this addiction is within them. It's the people who designed it
Yeah.
to do exactly what it did. So yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people would say that their phone, like the one thing they cannot live without, that they would, the house is on fire, I got to take something, it would be the phone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they've cleverly made it a tool with so many functions on it that it's, people see it as their lives now, because it's got,
Yes.
you can have your emails, you can have your works on there, you can have all your social media, you can have your GPS, you can find where you need to go next, and all of those sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
So life literally can be in it in a certain way. Like, and if you let it be, I mean, and it is a useful tool. I mean, I don't want to come across here and say that like I just hate phones and I'm done with phones. I'm going back to the old dial-up one with the I'm not going back to that. But because they are a useful tool. But you're so right when you say people have become addicted, and very
Yeah.
easy to do that. And funnily enough, we're talking about possessions today, and what they've done too is the reason they want to keep everyone on these platforms is not so that they can create social connections and everything between people. It's so they can
No,
advertise, and they can get
that's
money
right.
from advertising. And what are they advertising a lot of the time? More
Stuff.
possessions, more bloody possessions. It's like, and telling you need to have this.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. You need it. You need this in your life. You are not going to be cool enough. You're not going to be hip enough. You're not going to get all the girls. The boys won't look at you, whatever it may
yeah,
be. It is, yeah, that's exactly it. They don't care if that, who we meet online. They don't care.
or exactly, yeah.
It's, what can we sell you today?
Yes.
And the possessions are getting out of control, I feel, because
Yep.
there are families, and there are people out there that have their home full, garage full, and then a storage system full of stuff.
Yep. Yep. And if you've got that many things, like that much stuff that's critically important to you,
Mm-hmm.
then how do you divide that level of importance, and how do you actually give all of those items all the attention that seemingly they would deserve for being
Right.
kept? Because to me, like, if I overflow and I have that much stuff that it needs to go to a storage facility that I'm never going to go to, and I'm never going to
Right.
use or look at any of these things, then I can probably just get rid of it all.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's I think this was born out of the depression, because, well, we've talked about this, and my family, obviously my grandparents, and the depression, and um you hung on to stuff because there was a chance that it could never get replaced. So that mindset is still there. So for my dad especially, um I see it. He's afraid to let things go because he's afraid he'll never have it again. But he hasn't touched it in 10 years.
Yeah.
But can't let it go because what if he doesn't have it anymore? It's like, well, we'll just go get you a new one. Like it's not a big deal. Like
Yeah.
it could even be like a $10 thing. Like, I'll go get you a new one if you need one next week. No, it's a thing of it's a scarcity mindset. And I think it's just been brought down by generation. I think it's from the Depression era,
Yeah.
like our grandparents' age
Yeah.
of raising, and so I had to get out of the whole, it's okay to let things go, because of my dad's mindset and how I was raised. Like, you
Yeah.
just didn't let things go. But I think that's what it is. I think it's a scarcity, and it's all these companies telling us that we need this stuff. We need the bigger house so we can have more stuff. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yep. 100%. And it's like, if you don't get this electric juicer today, you're going to be in big trouble. Really? What's going to happen if I don't have an electric juicer?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm good.
If I want
okay.
juice, I go to the store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But, and it's become it's become such a norm too to see these things, and it could be TV, not just phones and social media,
Oh
but it could
yeah.
be, you know,
Yeah.
on the TV as well. It's become such a norm for this advertising that it gets to a subliminal level, and it's just like, and people don't even realize anymore that it's just going over and over and over and over again. And
Mhm.
you know, the late night commercials are a really good example of that too. The
Yeah.
infomercial type channels, because it's just a looping advertisement all day long, and you know they target those late night ads for a reason too, because there's people sitting there, you know, late at night, nothing to do, bored,
Mhm.
you know, maybe missing something that's been happening in their lives. I don't know, but like,
Yeah.
um, and you know, they get talked into it. It's like, well, damn it, I didn't realize, but I need some knives that can cut through shoes. I need that,
Yes.
and
Everyone needs those.
I need it. I need it in my life right now.
Yes. And if I wait, there's more. I'll get two for the price of one.
But wait, there's more. And then you end up at the end of the night, you've bought the shoe cutting knives, you've bought
Mhm.
a juicer you didn't need, you've
Mhm.
bought an ab stimulation package that's like electric shocks into your abs, and you've bought
Yep.
like a big painting ladder, and you don't have anything to paint. It's but
Yeah.
you've been like subliminally just talked into it
Yeah.
that you need it.
Well, those commercials are very good at, I feel, for whatever reason, because they're on at a certain time for a certain reason. Like all of this is all psychologically planned out. So it's there for a certain reason. So I think what they're anticipating is that people that are up, people that can't sleep or like are up at that time, are tossing and turning for a reason. And are they tossing and turning for the reason that they have something missing in their life?
Yeah, and they need
And
knives
they
to
need
fill it.
something. They don't need a thing. They just need a little bit of love.
Yeah,
That's it. That's it. Because that stuff is filling up a hole.
yeah.
Stuff is filling up like a hole of things that I'm missing something in my life. And if I go buy the new TV or the new whatever that I really don't need because my TV works just fine. But if I go buy this one, it's going to make me happy. Oh my goodness, that's it. That's what it is. It's a pursuit of happiness. They tell us that we're going to be happier. They're going to tell us that this thing is going to make me happy. Yeah, for the first like week.
Yeah, it's going
And then
to
it's just,
improve your life. It's going to
yeah,
improve your life. It's going to make you happy. It's going to make this
yeah,
thing better, this easier. And the new
yeah.
TV is a great example because generally, not always, but generally, TVs last a very long time. But
Yes.
that's one thing that people have a tendency to replace pretty frequently. Like, I need a
Me
bigger
too.
one. I need one
Yeah.
that's a smart TV. I need one that's got this, that's got that, you know, the
Yeah.
technology upgrades. But you're so right. You're so right. Like somebody sitting there at night, late at night, um, you know, oh, this will fill a gap for me.
Yeah.
This will make me happy for,
Hmm.
you know, I'd imagine very short period of time, making me
Hmm.
feel happy. And that just, you know,
Yes.
the other
It's
thing
fleeting.
too, yeah. The other thing too is like with that, if you're not if we're not happy with ourselves, or if you are, let me use the positive example. If you are
Mhm.
truly happy in yourself, with everything that you have, and you're grateful and all of those things, in a general sense, because obviously there's exceptions, but in a general sense, you're not going to feel the need for any of those things, or feel the
No.
need to have anything, because you feel like you've
Yeah.
got it all. You feel like you're
Yeah.
fulfilled.
Yes, absolutely. And if anyone out there is in that spot, congratulations. Like that is fantastic. And just spread the love, spread your happiness and spread the love.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about this the other day when I was thinking about like of possessions. And I'm in the process of just kind of purging little things here and there, like just stuff. And I just thought like if the companies would just stop making it, like our landfills are full,
Mm-hmm.
full. We're sending our garbage into space. We don't have enough room for our garbage. We're putting it in the ocean, for heaven's sakes, killing our oceans. If we would just stop creating the stuff that we don't need, because we did just fine when we were nomads and didn't have permanent homes.
Yes.
We did just fine. Like, we don't need any of this stuff.
Nope. We don't at all.
95% of the things that I have, I do not need to survive in this world.
Agreed. And it's a fantastic point. I'm so glad you brought back up the olden days. And when I say olden days, I mean, I'm talking thousands and thousands of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back 10,000 years, 40,000 years, they didn't have anything. So they didn't need to put any importance on things. They worried about themselves, their families, and eating for the day, being safe. That's what they worried about.
And they moved around a lot too. That's how little they had. They were able to pick up sticks and move in an instant if need be.
They didn't. That's right. They didn't build big mansions and put a level of importance on them so high and an emotional attachment on them so high that they could never leave. That didn't happen until much, much later down the historical track. And, that brings us back to, I'm glad you brought that up because I'd forgotten actually, but about Sapiens, the book Sapiens, and what it talks about with the domestication of animals and of plants and farming and all of those things. Because posing this question, and this is what Sapiens brings up, like, did humans really domesticate wheat and animals and plants and things like that? Or were humans domesticated by wheat? And the theory being that, well, you had this plant. Let's go with wheat. You had this grain that was actually only thousands of years ago, only in one or two areas in the world. It wasn't widespread. It was only in a very specific place. But what humans did through the need to start creating the agricultural age and start farming. So, okay, we've got this group of people together that we need to feed. Okay, we need to create a farm so we can stay in this one place and stop moving around. We need to create a farm of wheat that will feed all these people. So what wheat did to human beings was it gave them the need to have to take it with them if they did go to a different place and spread it all over the world. So wheat got humans to domesticate it by getting their humans to take the wheat from one place where it was growing and make it grow all over the world. So wheat literally took over the world and, well, it domesticated humans, not the other way around, because now we are beholden to wheat.
Yes.
With the billions of acres of wheat farming and all the products, like you were saying, the products that get created, like, stop creating them. But there's a demand there. So there's the need, and then it's a cycle that goes around and around. And so the wheat's just laughing, saying, well, thank you. You spread me all over the world. I took over.
Yeah. And the wheat locked us down. So before we put wheat en masse, as I said, like, they would pick up sticks, like, they didn't have homes. Like, we just didn't have homes. We were nomads. We would roam. And as soon as we had the wheat to take care of, because the wheat takes time to grow and nurture and take care of and process and everything, that domestication means the thing lives inside, and we live inside. So the wheat domesticated us, because the wheat lives outside, we live inside. So the wheat domesticated us. Like, we had no choice but to stay put. And they figured, well, we might as well build a shelter, because you know what? And then the shelter just got bigger and more and needed stronger, because you were staying there longer. So it couldn't just be a hut that, who cares if it fell down in a month. Then they had to start doing stone and all that. They had to keep thinking, how do we sustain this? And then it turned into little bitty towns, and then little bitty cities. And then next thing you know, here we are.
Yep.
Because of wheat. It was wheat that did this to us.
Yeah, exactly. And you think about that, that exact example, like you said, is, when you think about who is the master of who when it comes to wheat and people, and you can expand that out to all agriculture, but using wheat as the example, who waters who carefully prepares the soil for who carefully gets rid of pests and takes care of and nurtures and grows who. Humans do it for the wheat. Humans do all that hard labor for the wheat. The wheat doesn't do it for us. So it's so true. It's got us where it wants us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that wheat is some diabolical evil villain. I'm just saying, like, to say that we domesticated wheat is really wrong. It's the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you just said something where we're the ones, taking care of the plants, which we should, treat them nice and talk to them and whatnot, anything that has a vibration, or like a frequency and breath, we should be taking care of. But I just had a thought that a lot of people have more of an emotional attachment to their things than they do to another human being.
Oh, great point.
And not that humans can be possessed, because they cannot be possessed, but to have that emotional attachment to it, that you would take care of it like you would another human, to take care of that thing.
Yeah. Yep, it's true. It's so true. And it takes us back to that loss of human connection as well,
Yeah.
and energetic, connection between humans, because
Yeah.
through all of the things we mentioned, social media and all these other things, and it's become so disconnected. People walking along the street, heads down, out to
Yeah.
dinner, on their phones. That real human connection's been so lost. And then where do you put that importance? Well, it goes into the things that you have. And
Yeah.
there's another aspect too that you just got me thinking about, which is the aspect of certain societal factors in terms of people and the different kinds of people and social rejection. So people who may get socially rejected turn to social media and other avenues for some kind of validation, connection, a form of human experience. It's a positive one. Because there are a lot of people out there who, I mean, we get called crazy, but there's a lot of people out there who go through life and they may just not fit in the usual or average sense of the word.
Right.
And so they have that sense of rejection. So they turn to things like, well, it could be the Demtel ads at night, the late night infomercials. It could be social media. It could be all of those things. But that doesn't help either, because what it does is the people on the other side of that equation. So the people who are going through society and who do have all of these things and are not rejected, when they come across these people who are a little different, it's very easy to reject them again.
Yes.
And they don't need to put any attention, put any focus on these people, give them any time, because they've got their phone, they've got their work, they've got their this, they've got their that. And so it's easy for them to reject again. These are the people.
Which I think is very, very sad. But people don't ever stop and think, this person could be the most interesting person I will ever talk to in my life. I've had conversations with people while on vacation, because I'll talk to anybody. And this one gentleman, where the hell was I? Jamaica. And he's Calvin from Cleveland. And he showed me his son's wedding pictures and the whole 9 yards, but he was sitting there by himself and he just looked really awkward. He was an older gentleman.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend was off doing some shopping and I didn't want to shop. So I was like, I'll just, have a seat. And I figured, well, I'll just sit and talk to this guy. He was fascinating. And he's like, what made you stop and just come say hi? I'm like, figured why not?
Yeah.
He's like, I've been sitting, he's like, this so nice, but I still think of him and I wonder if he's okay. I still think back and think, wow, that was such an amazing conversation. And if I didn't do that because he seemed like some, weirdo by himself, poor old Calvin from Cleveland.
Yeah.
I would have never have had that experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Would just take a chance and say, hey, just because they look a little odd or they don't have the social skills that you would prefer, it doesn't mean anything. That could be the conversation that changes everything for you.
Yeah.
Do it.
Absolutely. And and doing that too, I just wanted to draw the comparison, and I can't remember which chemical it is. Is it dopamine? A dopamine hit you get when you open your phone and, you know, you
Yes.
got a like
Yeah.
on Instagram. So
Yeah. Woo!
that dopamine hit that you get from the phone, that is exacerbated and exaggerated so much more when you actually have a human interaction like yours. That's a positive one. It feels so much better. It feels so good. And
Yeah.
it's not something you can get from your phone because it's not real. Like, I get it. And I'm on, you know, I don't want to be a hypocrite here because I, of course, am on social media, but it's not something that I invest a lot of emotion into. That's the thing. Like, I don't, I'm there for a practical purpose, and there are some lovely people there. And of course, I've met some amazing people there, but it's to put all of my time into all of that and everything. No, I much prefer to have an in-person or at least a visual conversation with somebody so that you get that more meaningful dopamine hit like that. It's just so much nicer. I don't know. It just feels good to talk to people. And when you find out something that you weren't aware of, or somebody shares experiences of theirs from their point of view, because it's so interesting to me to talk to someone like your example. You don't know them from a bar of soap, but you end up having a chat with them and you find out different perspectives on things. So interesting.
Yeah. I'll, as I said, I'll pretty much talk to anybody, and that's kind of effed me over in the past because, you know, you can't be, you know, sometimes you can be nice to the wrong person and they take it the wrong way. Anyway.
Yeah.
But that dopamine hit can happen with everything. That dopamine hit can happen with the new TV. That dopamine hit can happen with the car. It can happen with the new shoes. I have no room to talk when it comes to shoes. We both know this. Like I have a thing with shoes, and I don't know why it is, because all summer, and granted, couldn't really go anywhere, I have worn all of 2 pairs. Right. And I have a closet full of shoes. So now I'm thinking, okay, well, get rid of the shoes. Like I obviously don't need them.
Yeah.
They are not a requirement in my life. So, but those shoes can give you a hit, and telling people how much you paid for them can also give you a hit. So it's all about that dopamine hit. So if we can find natural, human interaction ways and self-serving ways. So how can I do it myself? How can I fill up my own cup? How can I hit my own dopamine button? If we could do that, we wouldn't have half the possessions and nonsense that we already have. We could get rid of the majority of it, and we wouldn't be so emotionally attached to things.
Yeah.
Like I have a friend that has her grandmother's stuff, and she's having a hard time letting go of it. She said, because once I let it go, then it feels like she's gone. So now she's got her stuff, she's got grandma's stuff. Like it all adds up. And at what point do you say, okay, like at what point do we just say it's just stuff?
Yeah.
It's just stuff. And grandma wouldn't want you living, you know, buried in stuff.
Right.
So much so you can't move, because she's not going to be mad at you. She doesn't care. She doesn't care about stuff. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's the emotional thing that we think that they're going to be mad at us for getting rid of their stuff.
Yes.
But no one, like, it's just us. It's just us making up that rule.
Yeah. And it's the emotion and the relationship that you want to hang on to in that situation. So finding a way to, because people, I guess, get fearful too that they're going to forget, or like not forget in the sense of completely, but just lose the feeling they have when they remember and things like that. So I guess it's about a little bit too about finding a way to maintain that connection, that attachment and relationship when somebody's gone, I guess, as well. Yeah. But we don't foster that these days. We don't foster that as a society because we're so detached from everybody and attached to so many things that we don't actually put our attention and focus where it should be on building those relationships, strengthening those relationships, and making the bonds stronger between all humans, not just, one or two people here or there, but just everybody on different levels, because of course you're not going to be, not like you have to go out there and fall in love with everybody, but just being able to interact. And and actually understanding, connecting, being involved, being around other people, which
Mm.
is just, and it's, you know, prior to COVID and all of that, because that's obviously made it 10 times worse. But
Yeah.
even prior to that, with the beginnings of FaceTube and My Face and all these different social
Instaface.
Instaface, all these different platforms, it's it's really really gone downhill. I feel over the last 15 years, the human connection
Yes.
and the willingness to engage with other human beings as well.
When it comes to attachment, I heard this saying ages ago, and I absolutely love it because we can get attached, as we know, to objects. We can get too attached to people. We can just, I could be too attached to this goddamn thing right here, my water bottle. And the mantra is attached to nothing, connected to everything. So you want to be
Ooh,
connected, but you don't want to be attached, because attachment is what can skew us. Attachment is the thing. So like we can love everybody, but not have that attachment where it would be life devastating if they didn't
yes.
want to be with us, because I can love someone and have them not love me back and still experience loving them because I do. Just because someone doesn't love you back doesn't mean you can't love them. It means you can't do what you want with them, but it means you can still
Yeah,
love them. You can still appreciate them for them. Like, and we've just, we're just taught in my own humble opinion, and I am, you know, obviously a very flawed human being, but I just feel that, like, I'm not saying that I've got it all figured out, but when you think of it that way, it just seems like life would be a lot smoother if we were not so attached to people, places, and things, because
absolutely.
nothing's permanent.
Because when you,
Nothing is permanent.
because well, I love that saying, by the way. Absolutely
Yeah,
love
it's a
it.
good one.
And I don't, you know, I feel like you made me a little wrong there though, because I don't feel like you're, you know, got a great many flaws. But the interesting
Thank
part
you.
about that is
Biased.
the attachment. The attachment side of things also brings with it a fear of
Yeah.
detachment at some point. So
Yes.
if you put such a
Yes.
high level of importance in that attachment, you're going to be
Mhm.
afraid of the detachment at some point. Whereas
Yes.
the
And guess what's going to
connection,
happen?
exactly, it's going to happen. You're going to make it happen.
Exactly.
and,
Exactly.
but if you're connected with everything, that's a different thing, because you can be
Mhm.
connected and like you can be just moving around like in that connection.
Yeah.
Always just moving around in
Yep.
those connections, not having
Yep.
to necessarily leave one or disconnect from anything, but you can just be in the connection overall and
Yeah.
not be attached to it, not be afraid of it disappearing, because you dictate
Yeah.
that too. Like you dictate being in that connection,
Absolutely.
but the attachment's where the problem comes.
Yes, because that attachment, as you said, breeds fear. So if I'm afraid, so if I have so much attachment to my TV that I'm afraid that it's going to go away, well, all my attention is now focused directly on me losing that TV and how it's going to feel when it happens.
Yeah.
I am manifesting my TV not being around much longer.
Yeah.
So we want to detach from things. We want to remove the attachment, the attachment of the outcome, the attachment of, because we can still hold those emotions, but like if I have, and the thing is, I understand attachments to homes, and I understand attachments to
Mm-hmm.
cars. I understand that. I appreciate it. I get it. But when it comes to other things that make sense to other people, but not myself, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure some things that I'm attached to that would seem ridiculous to other people. So anyway, we're all ridiculous, and I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
So, but if we could appreciate it. And if it did go, like say my thing that I'm attached to or goes, then I can still appreciate the fact that I had it. And I can always go back to that time and say, that was a really great time. I really appreciate, and I'm really grateful that I got to experience that.
Well, it's so interesting to me, and screw you. You just said the word grateful and appreciate, because the next thing I was going to talk about was gratitude. And you can be grateful for your TV. You can be grateful for your water bottle. You can be grateful for all of these things. And I feel like
I recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the connection. That's the way like when you said connection before, that's what I feel like. Yeah, I connect with my things like that on that level of, yep, I'm grateful that I've got you. And I'm grateful that I've got this and that thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not as attached to it. If it disappears tomorrow, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to survive.
Yes.
So I just wanted to mention gratitude because it's so important. Like, and I feel like it works well with the connection side of things as well. Like you can connect through gratitude. Like, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that person down the road, but I don't need to be attached to them.
Right. Yes. And I don't know. It's an odd thing how we got here, because it's not like civil. It's someone's doing. It's someone's doing, but it's not our doing. Right. Like that's the thing. So I've watched mistakenly. I've watched Hoarders. Anyway, and I just and I say mistakenly because my heart breaks for these people, because they're attached to an empty milk carton. They can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's not their fault. Their families are screaming at them. And this is where I have a problem. Families are screaming at them saying, get rid of it. But they don't know the emotional attachment that they have with it. You don't know what that's going to do to them internally to get rid of it. That's why they have to bring in these professionals to help them, like therapists and stuff, to help guide them through it, because it's an unhealthy attachment to a thing that doesn't matter, but to them it matters.
Yeah.
So it's created by a higher, I don't want to say higher force, but a higher government level. I want to say that word.
Oh yeah.
Higher than the government, maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to say
the real people in power. Yeah.
Yeah. The real people in power have done this, because the more we're focused on the things that don't matter, the less we're focused on the things that do.
Oh, that's a great quote.
Thank you.
We should snip that.
Bless 2021.
I'm here all week. That's a great quote. And I could not agree with you more. This is not human nature. And what they've also carefully done with this crafting, and it is crafting and it is manipulation and it is something they've actually done on purpose. But something else that they've carefully done is they've created this environment where they can say things are human nature that are not human nature. So, all of this stuff about, attachment and possessions and all of these things and everything like that. It's like, well, Joe Blow wanted that thing and he was, so desperate to keep it and everything like that. Oh, well, it's just human nature. So they've conditioned everybody to call things human nature that are really not. When you break it down to our fundamental animalistic beings, we're not meant to know what the hell a TV is. Like, we're not meant to know any of these things. So they've, in that construction that they've created and in this society they've developed on purpose, they've done all of those things. And that's another thing that gets added into it as well. And people can't find their way out of it. They can't see their way out of it.
Well, no, because we're told that we need the stuff. So we need the stuff. We go get the stuff because we're told we need it. We go do the things to get the stuff. We work 5 jobs. Some people are working 3 jobs all at once to go get the stuff. And
the things and the stuff. Like,
that doesn't fucking matter.
Nope. Over and over and over again for entire lifetimes, for entire generations, for over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Well, we've had such a great discussion again. Thank you so much. Is there anything else?
Is it over already?
Well, we've come up to the 45-ish minute mark. Like, so, unless there's anything else critical you wanted to say, I feel like, we've had a good chat.
I think I just can't believe it went by so fast. That went by so fast. It felt like 10 minutes.
I feel like we just said, welcome back to the episode.
Yeah. I hope it went fast for people listening and watching. I hope it went by fast for them too.
Yeah, me too.
Ooh. Great discussion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed it out there, and yeah, let us know what you think in the comments or on social media. Let us know. But
Yeah.
have a great
And
day.
I want to know, what is your most favorite possession? What is your most prized possession? That's what I want to know.
Ooh,
No
and
judgment.
why?
And why? Yeah. What is it?
Have a great day, everyone. See you later.
Bye, guys.